Here's the Model 2 keyboard, putting it back together now. You have to make sure when you put these back in, they're not straight. They point at an angle, and that angle, I believe, needs to point up. So when you put these in, they're supposed to go in a certain way, whereas the other keyboard, it didn't matter which way you put it in. On this one it does. So that when you're through there, they all point in the same direction. Thankfully though, they've got a little notch, or two notches. They only can go in two ways. These little pieces on either end here, they can only go in two ways. So far, they're going in. It's going in a lot slower than the other keyboard, than the Model 12 keyboard did. And they won't stay in on their own. Whereas the Model 12, once you snapped them in, they snapped into place, and then you could turn the keyboard upside down and they would stay in there. These will fall out. So I have to leave the keyboard like this. And then once I get all the keys in there, I'll check and make sure they're all straight. And then get the circuit board and put the circuit board on top of this and screw it down. This is going to be a little bit more difficult. These are the backs of the two LEDs for the caps lock and the lock button. And those have to go into the circuit board. They have to plug into two sockets. That's going to be real tricky to plug those in. And I hope when I get done they'll work. It's just trying to look at these things and make sure you plug it in the right way. And like I say, there's only two ways to plug them in. Definitely not as easy as the Model 12 keyboard, but it's going. I got them all in there except for missing two. Where did it go? And then I remembered. I was using two of them to push on the keyboard to push on the circuit board there, so I could type and make copies of discs. That's that little double-sided tape they use. That just peels off, and then you're just left with a clean piece there with your... There we go. One final check to make sure they're all pointing in the same direction. None of them are pointing down. And that should do it. Like I say, we'll get this one cleaned up. Just before we put everything back together, I don't want there be any chance of these contacts being dirty, because once this thing's together, it ain't coming apart again. I just don't know. Some of it looks shiny, some of it looks like crap. I might try to go over these with a really light sandpaper, just to shine them up just a little bit better. Then again though, they were making good contact just as they were. I just don't like all the oxidation. There we go. Clean most of the crap off of that chip there. And then I marked all the holes where the screws went here too. little arrows. Yeah, let me try. I have to be really careful. I don't want to scratch this right off the circuit board. Yeah, it's about as clean as I dare to get it. Just kind of worried that I was going to scratch the stuff right off the circuit board. But used a real fine grit, super fine grit sandpaper. I use this. It's 180. I was using this first. This is even finer than that, but it just wasn't cutting through the oxidation. This cut through it. And then I wiped it down again without rubbing alcohol. Yeah, I mean, we've made good contact before, so it should make even better contact now. But yeah, that's just the way those, you know, what is that? Yeah, it's just the way they were. I'm gonna put it down. Got some screws in here I gotta take out. We'll just take this. Oh yeah, those LEDs. Yeah, both of those got it. Because those holes there are raised. I'm already having trouble. Oh, we'll try something. Well, what do you know? I got it. Just took some real delicate finagling. And it's in there. Now, if I can just get these two little screws. I kept these screws separate from all the other ones because they were threaded differently. What was that? What was that? Oh, nothing important. I was like, oh my god, that was the things falling out. Oh, it's just the screws. These go into the bottom of the case. And we'll do the same thing with these screws as we did with the Model 12. We'll get them all started by hand. There's a lot more on this keyboard than there were on the Model 12. Like I say, everywhere you see a little black arrow, that's where a screw needs to go in. Well, if I had to do it all over again, I'd do a Model 12 keyboard in a heartbeat. This Model 2 keyboard is just a pain in the butt. Well, my smallest screwdriver was actually too small for these screws, so I had to get a bigger one, just a little bit bigger with a finer, with a kind of a fine point on it. It's working a lot better. Okay, that's got that back in there. Now, all these little springs go back in. Oh yeah, the Model 12 keyboard, these springs stayed in. This one, they all fell out as soon as I... And then you get these here that like this are tangled. Oh, there we go. Or I could put that key on, that lock key. Yep, looks like I got all these in the right position. That would have sucked to have to take this apart because these were upside down or something stupid. There we go. I guess I'll find that escape key. Oh, there it is. Escape. Alright. We're getting there. Coming along nicely. The space bar was really tricky to get in there. You have to get that bar in there. That metal bar. And then once I got it in there, I forgot to put the spring on. So I had to take it apart and put the spring back on there. But it snaps in there, and then the other end of the bar goes through those holes there. And that just, it keeps the space bar level. Now some of these keys are going on way too easy, and it feels like some of them are just gonna, the spring just wants to pop the key back off. I may have to actually put some glue on these posts here and then put the key on top of it so it'll stay on. But the keyboard is remarkably the same as this one, except for I think these function keys over here are different, but everything else seems to be in the same place. So we'll put my backspace key in there and the brake key. See, that just kind of went on real easy. Missing my 0 key. I don't see it, but maybe my eyes are getting crossed and maybe it's there and I just don't see it yet. Or maybe it's wandering around somewhere else. We'll find it. Not quite sure what the repeat key would be used for, rather than, I don't know. Well, see, that just went on. Yeah, see, that wants to pop off. Well, I was missing a spring, but a spring off of a TRS-80 Model 3 worked just fine. There we go. Still can't find that 0 key. Darn it. It's around here somewhere. Hoping I'll have to start looking for a replacement. Because that key is actually in the down position right now, so it needs the key on there to help pull this little post up. Otherwise, the 0 is going to be pressed all the time. Warning, no user serviceable parts inside this unit. Unit should be taken to Radio Shack Service Center for service. Funny, I didn't read that before. And again, it doesn't have the 26 number. 530330. Oh, that's a raised plate. Wow. It's a very lightweight keyboard, for as big as it is. The enter key feels a little funny. Doesn't quite, I don't know, I'll have to play with that. And one of my rubber feet is missing. Oh, I only have one rubber foot. Oh, I can fix that. Need to find me a key to go on there. I can't find the one that's supposed to be there. I need to find something else that'll work, at least temporarily, until I find the other one. Well, the only keyboard I found in my entire collection that came close to having that kind of a key on it was an old Mac keyboard. I've got a I've got a bad Mac keyboard, Macintosh Plus, that it's got some bad contacts on it. But I'm hoping, well, it kind of works. Almost matches. Almost. Same color, just a different style, but it's gonna function. Alright, I'm not sure. I don't think this had a label here on this particular model, when I got this monitor, keyboard. Yeah, you can see where was a well-used keyboard. The paint where your hand rested to type, all the paint's gone. Alright, now if I can get this computer to behave.